Today we packed up some sandwiches, rented a boat and pootled around our local bay. Just the two of us, the sun shining, the water quiet, our peaceful little bay and some boat snacks under the blue sky. As we pootled along the coastline, I was just again reminded at how much bigger my life and my world feels since we've moved to Spain a year ago. And I know that it feels so ironic to me that my world is so much bigger in this little tiny Spanish seaside town than it ever felt when I was living in a major city in the UK. And the strange part of that to me is that really slowing down feels like it's making my world and my life get bigger and bigger and bigger. When for years I was on this treadmill, this hustle treadmill, racing against myself to achieve everything, to have this bigger life that was just around the corner. Welcome to another of my day in the life vlogs, these quiet, gentle recordings of my days here in Spain, of my thoughts, of my insights, as I am slowly coming back home to myself. And today, more than anything, feels like a reflection on how much my world has really expanded and how, for such a long time before this, my world and my life had been quietly shrinking. Over the past 6 years especially, my life had actually become really small. I was working from home, running my business, spending most of my time inside, seeing clients online, living this kind of strange half life through social media, where everything looks shiny on the outside, but it hides what's really going on underneath. My husband Jason works from home as well, so we spend loads of amazing time together, and I do have a handful of really good friends who I'd meet for dinner once a month or so. So for me, for a long time, it felt like enough. By nature, I'm an introverted extrovert, so I love connecting with people, I love having deep conversations one-on-one, and even in bigger social settings, I can come across as really outgoing and confident. But the truth is, I get really overwhelmed by a lot of people around me, a lot of noise, if things feel very hectic, if the energy feels very hectic or the energy feels off. And I always have this internal dread of not knowing what to say, of not understanding, not getting the joke, or running out of small talk. I don't know if that's just me, but I look around at people talking and think, what are you talking about so freely in such a big crowd of people? I always worry I'm going to run out of things to say or not understand what someone else is saying. I don't know where that comes from, but I know that I really don't like small talk and big social situations. I definitely prefer going deep with someone. So even in a big social setting, I'll normally have 2 or 3 really good one-on-one conversations rather than hover towards a big group of people. I'm endlessly curious and love talking about our inner worlds and our lived experiences. So when I do chat with someone one-on-one and they open up with me, there is definitely never a lull in conversation, and I never worry about running out of things to say then. But ultimately, I've always been someone who refuels alone. I don't need that constant socializing to feel alive. I don't need busy schedules or crowded rooms or back-to-back plans. I refuel by myself in such quiet ways it looks like I'm not doing anything. Reading a good book or watching my reality TV, taking a bath, colouring, just pottering around. Just sitting and listening to music. Do you remember when you used to do that when you were a teenager? You'd just sit and listen to music. Reorganizing my wardrobe, things like this, these quiet things that I do around the house, these are how I refuel myself. So I got one of those book nooks for Christmas this year, and I'm so excited to build it. All of that little detail, the miniature furniture, really igniting my imagination, the slow process of bringing it to life, that's my real nature. Cozy, creative, quiet and introspective. But the truth of the matter is, for most of my adult life, I didn't fully allow myself to be that person. I kept that version of myself tucked away because somewhere along the line, I absorbed this idea that I was supposed to be more. more driven, more ambitious, more productive, more visible, striving for more all the time, working really hard and racing, pushing for more. To be totally honest, I'm not even really 100% sure where that came from originally, or when or how it really seeped into my system, but it became a firm belief that ruled my life for decades. I lived in hustle mode for so long, in performance, in striving, always focusing on the next goal, the next level, the next version of myself that I was trying to reach. Always on to the next, looking into the future and not really being fully present in the now. And slowly over time, honestly, without even noticing, I stopped doing the things that made me feel like myself. I even stopped reading for so many years, which actually feels strange for me to even realize now that I did that so gradually over time, because books and reading have always been a huge focal point of my identity. But there just didn't seem to be space for that quiet, slow, introspective version of myself anymore. I've been thinking a lot recently about the stories we were told, especially as women, this idea that we should want to have it all. Feminism, right? The career, the success, the home, the relationships, the calm, feminine life, and the driven, ambitious life, all at the same time. We should want it all, but more importantly, we should be able to do it all. And not only have it all, but make it all look so effortless, never too demanding, never too difficult, never too much, never too pushy, never too loud. And I don't know about you, but that balance never really worked for me. Something always had to give, and for a long time it was me. My quietness, my softness, my slowness, my natural rhythm. I pushed myself into a version of life that didn't really fit who I was. And then over time, my world became smaller and smaller. Not really because I wanted it to, but because that's what happens when you disconnect from yourself. Toward the end of our time in the UK, my life had become incredibly contained. We rarely went out. Simple things felt difficult, the traffic, the cost, the effort, and even when we did decide to have a nice day out, it often ended with us turning around and going home after being stuck in traffic for hours. We went to the cinema loads, sometimes twice a week, sometimes even 3 times a week, and don't get me wrong, going to the movies is one of my favourite pastimes. I absolutely love it, but looking back now, that was pretty much the entire extent of my socialising, my outside world. My world looked like going to the cinema, going to Tesco, going for a walk around the park, being at home, repeat. That was it. But without realising it, within that smaller and smaller world, I had shrunk myself along with it. I lived in leggings and oversized sweatshirts, rarely wore makeup, rarely did my hair, often stayed in my pyjamas all day. Not because I was sad or depressed or there was something massively wrong. I just disconnected from myself. I drifted away from myself. Moving to Spain has been the catalyst that's changing that. I can feel myself steadily reconnecting, burning down the last misaligned parts of myself that I have been using as a shield. Here in Spain, life happens outside the house. People live outside. The weather invites you out into the world. Everything is slower, but somehow so much richer. Here in Spain, we walk everywhere, we explore, we have days out, we have fun, we eat out, we sit by the sea, we swim, we bike ride. We take boats out on random afternoons like today. And the biggest irony of all is that I moved from such a major UK city to this small, sleepy Spanish seaside town, and my world has suddenly become massive. Because my world is no longer defined by the geography in which I lived, it's defined by my presence in every moment. I am in the moment. Every day I'm in awe of the mountains, the sky, the sea, the sun, the palm trees, the birds singing on the breeze. I'm expanding into the feeling of being completely present inside of my own life. Today, after we rented the boat, we came home and I had a nap, a delicious afternoon nap. And that's something I would never have allowed myself to do before. I would have told myself it was lazy, unproductive, a waste of time, but now it just feels normal. It feels natural for me. Of course I would have a nap. And later we walked into town, had the most delicious Mexican meal. Honestly, the food is so good there. The place had such a great buzz, filled with happy people out living and loving their lives. And then we had a gorgeous slow walk home under the stars through these quiet streets that now feel like home. And to end this gorgeous day, I'm here with my cup of tea, the television quietly on, reflecting on the ordinariness and spectacularousness of the day and how extraordinary it feels to me, because I'm here, I am fully here. If you've made it this far, I'd really love to know, do you feel like your world has expanded or contracted over time? And do you feel more like yourself now or less? I think for me at this stage of life, I'm 51, postmenopausal, coming home to myself, it's really giving me a kind of internal permission, a freedom to stop performing, to stop chasing, to stop copying others, stop trying to be accepted, stop trying to be chosen. Freedom to just be, to embrace my quiet hobbies, to embrace my slower pace, to really embrace myself. I'm relearning how to ride a bike, and I'm loving the feeling of the wind in my hair again and the freedom that brings. I swim in our pool, I swim in the sea, I lie on the beach, I'm writing my book, I'm reading in the sun, I'm finally making videos on YouTube again, something I haven't done for years properly and something I do really, really love. I'm caring again about how I feel, what I want, what I'm wearing, how I'm looking. My life feels like it's in Technicolor when for so long it was really just kind of muted. And the most beautiful part is, this isn't really a dramatic burn it all to the ground reinvention with 5 a.m. wake-ups and 25-step routines. I'm not pushing myself with habit trackers. I am simply allowing myself the time to return home to myself with more honesty, with more presence, and with more softness. Today wasn't unusual, but it was magical. We rented a boat, I had a nap, we ate dinner, we came home. My life and my world feels huge now, and it's not about the geography. I'm no longer waiting for my life to begin. I'm no longer looking ahead to a time when things will be better. I've designed it, I'm inside it, and I am living it. And I'm so glad I went on the really long and often difficult journey to find my way back to myself. If you've got any questions, pop them in the chat. If you enjoy this type of vlog and want to see more from me, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you soon for my next day in the life. For now, I'm going to finish my tea and enjoy the quiet. See you next time. Bye.